Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we are talking about AA's prediction of AMC, SEC investigating shorts, how the cat exposes shorts again, and many more in this video. First, we've got this from Samuel saying it's the start. Now, we're taking a look at this particular tweet from Adam Aaron. Now, the whole tweet is obviously talking about the movie, but he talks about Good Fortune, the fall of 2025. Now, obviously, we're taking this a bit out of context, but I do believe that Adam Aaron has, of course, left messages in the past. Now, before you talk about in terms of Adam Aaron as a person, I just want to talk about what there is for AMC. Already so far, we've seen multiple good things come for AMC. We've seen multiple bad things actually happen and fall upon the short. And so when we take a look at in terms of the future outlook for AMC, it's looking like it's very, very bright, of course, going into the future. We talked about the fundamentals that will be released next month with the earnings. We talked about how AMC is improving their infrastructures. We talked about how AMC is improving their earnings. We talked about how shorts are losing their positions, their collaterals, all of these investigations that are happening. And so I do believe that obviously we have good things lined up for AMC. And if you want to take a look at this, here's some information to obviously digest. Trump media presses US regulators to investigate. It's time SEC and FINRA are held accountable and forced to do their job. Congress can stop this manipulation. They have the power to do so. Where we are seeing Trump media presses US regulator to investigate short positions in its stock. Now, we obviously know that DJT, along with AMC and GME, and of course many others, are victims of illegal shorting, naked shorting, just shorting in general in the way that they are using to manipulate a price to a price where it shouldn't be at. Now, this isn't obviously the way we wanted to. This is something we talked about in the past. We have always asked, we have always said that there needs to be checks from the SEC, from FINRA, onto these institutions about all of these illegal practices that they are doing. But they never heard to retail. Now, Trump media is obviously pressing this, and we know that their ties with Donald Trump, and this potentially is the way that we are going to get it. Like I said, this isn't the way we wanted it, but this is something that in terms of overall what we wanted in any way. And this is what we talked about in terms of how AMC is in a good position and how shorts aren't in a good position. When you look at just, and again, I want to be looking at pure data. I don't want to talk about what news articles are talking bad about AMC with false data. But when you look at what's going on for AMC right now, everything is going well. When you look at what's going on for the shorts right now, nothing is going well. We talked about how Citadel faced a loss in February, in March, and very likely this month as well. We talked about how they were forced to close out highly leveraged positions. We've seen how Ken Griffin are selling properties left, right, and center, all at a loss. So you can see the differences between AMC and the short sellers right now. Even more is how the cat system is exposing this. And again, this further highlights why they want to stop the cat system. Breaking, FINRA releases shocking cat data showing $77.5 billion in equity trading errors from March 28th to April 10th. So once again, we are being astounded by this particular set of data. And you can see over here, we are looking at over $77.5 billion worth of errors. These errors equates to that money that should have been going to the retail, or at least should have been fairly reflected in the market, but wasn't done so because of the fact there were these errors. Now, errors can of course mean a multitude of things. We've seen in the past, we talked about naked shorting. We talked about how they mark orders for longs as sales and for longs as short, and then short as longs, and multiple other things. And this is what's exposing right now. You can see, if you want to take a look at this, that is 310,000 errors per second of every minute of every trading hour for 4 straight days. So if you want to talk about why we have never seen true price discovery, why we talked about the manipulation, why we said that every second in the market we have never seen true price reflection, well, this is it right here. And that's why they don't want the cat system. But prior to the cat system obviously being implemented, we saw many institutions come out and talk about how they are against it. We saw them actually take up lawsuits against the SEC, and that just showed the seriousness of why they were afraid of what the cat system is doing. Now, this goes on to what we talked about at the very start as well, in terms of Here, the CAT system has exposed these errors. They talked about in terms of the unfairness, in terms about everything that's going on in the market. What there hasn't been anything that's been done is in terms of the actions that's been taken upon these shorts, upon these institutions for the errors that they are doing, because these errors are causing unfair price action in the market. They're allowing the institutions to benefit, but anyone without any, obviously, high frequency trading algorithms or any of the sort, they are not able to profit. And that is an unfair market. You can see the CAT sees it all. This is the real reason Wall Street and members of Congress who under the notion are against the consolidated audit trail. So this is why we want the CAT system to stay. This is why we've always talked about that the manipulation we see in the market that we talk about aren't fake. It isn't something that's made up. It's always something that's existed, and it's like this. And just like I've highlighted and pointed out in the past, and I'm sure many have done as well, is the CAT system is showing the errors that have been done now, obviously since the CAT system is being implemented. What it hasn't talked about is, imagine we are getting this many trade errors in these short amount of days. Then if you just imagine how many trade errors there would have been prior to the CAT system being implemented. And perhaps because they knew the CAT system was being implemented, they have actually cut down on the amount of trade errors. And what we could be looking at is that in the past, potentially in 4 trading days, we could have actually seen 100 billion, 200 billion, 300 billion in terms of trading errors. And that just shows just how corrupt the market is. Furthermore, this is something we highlighted in the past. We talked about how the Federal Reverse Repo has lowest inventory in 4 years. Watch out for the first bank to sell commercial real estate. And that's why we talked about to keep an eye on AMC and GME too. Now, as we are highlighting on this, you can see $957 billion in commercial real estate loans come due this year. Extend and pretend and pray and delay are risky strategies. And this is why we are talking about the commercial real estate crash, because we've seen how in terms of the economic instability, we talked about how risky it is for many others. We talked about the rates for many others. We talked about how they just don't have the capital in the first place for many of these institutions. And so when we say this, we're not just saying this from nothing. We're saying it because there are, of course, things that are backing all of these statements up. And so commercial real estate is just one thing to be looking at. There are, of course, plenty of other different factors in terms of just in general, the very fact we're looking at almost zero liquidity from the reverse repo. But these are all signs showing how the system is crumbling down, how the shorts are crumbling down, how the institutions are running out of money. Now, let's talk about AMC again. Let's wind back to AMC and let's talk about why it's good for AMC this year. We can see Newmont Mining is divesting 6 of its low profitability sites and will likely replace them with new higher value mining sites. Here's a summary of why Newmont's recent mine restructuring activity just might be very, very good for Highcroft. And we obviously understand AMC's investment in this, and we talked about how this could potentially play out to be one of the squeeze factors for AMC, to be one of the factors that not only propels AMC to the next level by paying out debt, by being able to have more free cash, by investing to other businesses, but also by issuing out dividends. Of course, there's so much more than this, but if the valuation, if we talk about this investment playing off, then we're looking at AMC to be at a very good place. And so this is why we said at the very start, good fortune for the fall of 2025 for AMC. You can also see in terms of taking a look at their technicals, we're looking at HYMC to, of course, be at a breakout. Like I said, if we are able to see HYMC do very, very well, we're going to see how that reflects in AMC as well, because this investment will allow AMC to have so much cash from their investments. And also, let's take a look at this. The XRT short interest at 435.27%. There are 4.8 million shares outstanding, but 20.9 million shares short. That's not hedging, that's synthetic overkill with a side of fraud soup. So we talked about how XLT is being used. It's a fund that's being used in order to short AMC, in order to short GME. Now, we are seeing how they are able to short more shares than there are outstanding. You can even see right here, shares outstanding, 4.8 million. Shares short, 20.8 million, or 20.9 million if you want to round it up. And so this is already showing the synthetics. And remember, the synthetics that's been created out of these funds also means that there are synthetics of GME of AMC shares that are created out there. So if you wanted any proof of synthetic shares, you're looking at it right now. Now, of course, nothing has been done, no consequences. These shorts are able to do this because they know they can get away with it. And it's why we need SEC, why we need FINRA to obviously investigate and press on to these matters, because that's what will allow retail to obviously be free. And again, they are free because of the crash it will cause. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.